Hello and welcome to another session. In this session, we will take a look at how SuccessFactors Security works and try to understand the different components of it in a very high level. So SuccessFactor, it uses a concept called role-based permissions framework or role-based framework for managing the security and access of the system. Now there are various components to it. The very first thing is users. So I think anyone who has ever worked in SAP or even in any other system will know what a user is. A user is nothing but a ID created for an individual in the system. Then we'll have permission roles. So roles are a group of permissions or access which will get assigned to a user. For example, a HR admin, we can have a role called HR admin which will have all the permissions a HR admin will need to perform its day-to-day operations and activities. So that role can then be assigned to someone who is a HR. Let's say John is a HR, so you can assign John the permission role for HR administrator and he will have the access to perform his duties. Next component will be permissions. Now permissions is the smallest unit of access that can be provided to someone. Let's say you want a user to be able to see someone else's first name and last name, so there's a permission for that. You can turn the permission first name on or off, and based on the switch that you have enabled, the user will get access to either see the first name or not. So the individual unit of permission or the smallest unit of access that you can provide to someone, it is permission, and these permissions grouped together forms a role. Another and a very important component of the role-based framework is permission groups. Now groups is a collection of users who have a similar access need. Let's say you have 5 HR admins working for a particular location. Now all of these HR admins will have a similar access need. They will need the similar roles to perform their duties. So you can basically group those 5 people in a group called HR admin, and then that group can assign a role. So permission groups and permission role, these are the key components of this role-based permissions framework. If we move on, now if we try to understand how this role-based permission framework works, you can have a look at the diagram on the screen. Now what you will have is you will have a group who needs access. For example, I gave the example of HR administrators, right? So let's say in London we have 5 HR administrators, so we can create a group called HR administrator London and put those 5 users into that group. Now that group will need permission, or that group will need role, which will be nothing but a set of permissions. But another important key factor of this is the HRs at London may not need access for all the employees across the organization, right? They will need access probably just for the employees who work at the London office, because they are the HR managers for them. So this is where another key component comes in, which is for whom you are providing the access. So the first part is who you are providing access. We'll make a group for that. Then the second is what can they do with that access. So that is what the role basically controls it. And then for whom they can actually get this access. So the for whom part is the target population. Now the target population is again, it is usually defined by a group. So the The who and for whom are in most cases are groups that as a security admin you will build, and then will have a role in between, and these three things will tie together and provide the access or completes the frameworks. So this is a very high level view of how SuccessFactors security work. We'll take a look at all of this in action when we'll go into the system, but it's important to understand this concept so that it will be easy to grasp whatever we are doing in the system later in this course.